What's up, traders? In today's video, I will be performing a market forecast on Euro USD using smart money concepts. So stay tuned. Now, first of all, I hope you all have had a good start to this new year. Today's video is going to be a direct follow-up on the previous market forecast video that we uploaded roughly a month ago on the 11th of December 2022. Now, in that video, we were waiting for price action to form a new daily swing high here on Euro USD. I think we were hovering around about here when we performed that previous market forecast video, and we told ourselves that we wanted to see how price action interacted with this higher time frame supply zone in here on the daily chart, and wanted to see whether or not that would be enough for us to establish a new bullish daily leg. Because after we had this bullish break of structure to the upside, right, we had a nice introduction of a lot of bullish momentum, but then price action got into this price delivery here that started to suggest that the bullishness was slowing down, particularly that bullish momentum. So we wanted to wait for price action to give us the formation of that new daily swing high in here, right? We also said, however, that there was a possibility that price action could trickle a little bit higher, potentially mitigate this POI because it was a previously unmitigated POI, and we wanted to see whether or not we would get a reaction from there. Now, as you can see, price action gave us 2 bearish days after that mitigation, but then price action continued up. So the price delivery essentially remained the same, right? Price action pushed up to this daily supply zone. And then, unfortunately, we reached the end of the year. During that period of December, I believe this mitigation took place on the 14th of December. So after that mitigation, we just had a couple of weeks of consolidation where not much really happened, okay? At the turn of the year, on the 3rd of January 2023 now, we had an introduction of a little bit more volume, a lot more traders coming back to their charts. We had price action essentially do this liquidity grab in here, coming into this daily demand zone before continuing up, all right? We can see that price action has now trickled up a little bit higher and is now interacting with another daily supply zone which was not mitigated. So from a daily point of view, what we're looking for essentially remains the same. We're still waiting to see that daily bullish leg form and establish before we can look for any pullbacks, right? So overall, we understand that Euro USD is currently still trading bullish, right? If we now drop down to that 4-hour chart, and the 4-hour chart is really where the bulk of my daily bias comes from, right? I like knowing what the daily chart is doing, right? But for the most part, when I'm trading my sessions during the week, I follow very closely what the 4-hour is telling me. And you can see that the 4-hour, which would now be regarded as internal structure when compared to the daily chart, right? You can see that the 4-hour has had really clean, right? Really pronounced bullish price behavior. You can see that price action has consistently been putting in higher highs and has consistently been putting in higher lows. Now, the most recent higher high that we've put in would be this high in here, which if I drop back out to the daily chart, that most recent 4-hour swing high that we have seen form has taken place within this higher time frame POI, within that higher time frame daily supply zone, right? So dropping back down to the 4-hour chart, what we can see is that this is where that period of consolidation started for us during the period of December, all right? In here, we had the mitigation of this daily supply zone, period of consolidation. Then some momentum steps into the market. We essentially take the liquidity that was sitting underneath here, all right? We tap into something a little bit lower in terms of a 4-hour demand zone. And then we have this increase in bullishness, or in bullish momentum rather, to take that 4-hour swing high in there. So essentially what we can see here is we've seen a 4-hour break of structure. We've seen price action trading into a higher time frame POI, and then we've seen the formation of this 4-hour swing high. Now, how do we know that this is a 4-hour swing high? Well, you look for that change of character, isn't it? And we can see that our change of character on the 4-hour essentially took place in here with the break of structure down here, right? We can see that price action was trading up. We have a pullback, and then price action pushes up. It fails to create a new high, and then it breaks this low of this bearish candle in here, all right? Once you drop down to the 1-hour chart, you'll see that you actually have your change of character occurring a little bit sooner on your 1-hour chart, but that is how the hierarchy of time frames occur. Generally speaking, your changes of character will first occur on your lower time frames before they occur on your higher time frame. So we know that this is a confirmed 4-hour swing high for us because of this change of character that occurs down here, all right? So what exactly is it that we would like to see here on the 4-hour chart on EUR/USD going into the new week? Well, we have a valid 4-hour swing high which has formed, right, brought about by that 4-hour change of character. We would now like to see whether or not we can have a bearish pullback, right, towards our equilibrium. Now, luckily for us, we have a valid 4-hour POI. We have a valid 4-hour demand zone that sits right at our equilibrium of this 4-hour leg, all right? So we would like to see whether or not price action can pull back towards this 4-hour, potentially mitigate it before continuing with that underlying 4-hour trend to take our 4-hour week high in here. Another thing that gives us confidence potentially in this POI is the fact that we have this nice liquidity that sits just above it. We also have a little bit of imbalance, a little bit of a fair value gap that sits just above the zone as well, okay? Obviously, if this particular POI does not give us the intended reaction where it goes ahead and violates that 4-hour week high, we could then look for POI slightly lower. We have one sitting in there, or we could just look for price action to pull back towards that extreme, all right? So this is why I really like trading, or this is why I really like getting my daily bias, all right, my daily trading bias from the 4-hour chart, okay? If we just look at the daily chart again very quickly, you can see that in terms of how I approach the market, I have not quite seen the formation of a daily swing high just yet. A lot of people would potentially have marked this out as the daily swing high, but because of that price delivery, because of that period of consolidation during the festive period, I did not see enough of a pullback for me to regard this as a swing high. Now, I know in order for you to mark out a swing high, you realistically want to look for your changes of character, all right? But I want you to understand that a lot of times you need to look at it in terms of the context of the overall market. And when we're looking at the context of the overall market, our price delivery here remains the same. We have not quite gotten a pullback yet, all right? If you contrast this price action here to this price action in here, you can see that we have much more of a pullback here than we do in here. So because of the fact that we have not quite established a new daily leg just yet, I know that we are coming in to interact with an important POI in the form of this daily supply zone. I like the fact that my 4-hour swing high has been confirmed within that daily POI, within that daily supply zone. So for me, going into the new week, provided that this remains intact, I can start looking for short opportunities on my 1-hour and my 15-minute charts up until price action potentially reaches this 4-hour demand zone, all right? And then once we trade into this demand zone, I can then switch focus and I can then start looking for potential long opportunities, all right? Now I know and I will understand that any short opportunities that I trade in here will be counter trend, and I can't be looking to trade them all the way down to here. I need to be very mindful of the fact that at any point in time, bullishness can step back into the market and take price higher, okay? So that's what we're looking at on the 4-hour chart. If I just very quickly drop down to that 1-hour chart, this is where we already had our 1 hour change of character occurring a little bit easier. So you can see that this was the point where we had that 4 hour change of character, but you can see that my 1 hour swing high essentially was confirmed in here by this change of character. So we had the change of character, we had price action pull back to mitigate this 1 hour zone, right? After the mitigation, we have essentially a secondary break of structure. Now, that secondary break of structure in here, that is the secondary break of structure which confirms for me this change of character in here. Now, I am very much aware of the fact, okay? I'm very much aware of the fact that we essentially have liquidity sitting here in the form of an Asian session high, which has not been grabbed yet, okay? But if we look at it from an order flow point of view, we have the change of character, we have the mitigation of a 1 hour supply zone, we have a secondary break of structure, and we can see the price action is now pulled back up and is now essentially interacting with this 1 hour supply zone in here. Now, I do think there is a chance that this 1 hour zone could potentially be swept at market open before continuing down, purely because this 1 hour supply zone, it did not sweep anything before it was created, okay? If you look at this 1 hour zone in here, this 1 hour zone swept the New York session high before forming, right? Essentially, it formed in here once we got that change of character. So this 1 hour POI grabbed liquidity before forming. This 1 hour POI, however, did not quite grab anything before forming. So that's why going into Monday, I want to see, first of all, how my Asian session plays out, all right? I want to see whether or not this particular 1 hour zone will remain intact. And essentially what I'm going to be looking for is, I want to see this structure taken in order for us to see more continued bearishness to the downside. I will be looking for something on the 15-minute chart, maybe even the 5-minute chart, provided this 1 hour zone holds, provided we get an entry model, provided we get internal structure showing us a change from what would be now a bullish market state to a bearish market state. Because remember, while this is bearish structure on the 1 hour, this would be internal bullish structure on your 15-minute and your 5-minute. So what you want to be doing is you want to be looking for essentially a change of structure on your lower time frames in here, where price action is going from bullish to potentially bearish. And that's when you can start looking for potential entries on your lower time frame, which would then be in line with that overall 4 hour pullback that we're anticipating. All right, so there's definitely an interesting situation currently playing out on Euro USD, and we want to make sure that we're in a position to capitalize on any opportunities that the market provides us going into the remainder of January. All right, now if you enjoyed this video, please make sure that you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future content. I also want to say that in the coming days, probably in about a week or so, I'm going to be making an announcement, very exciting. So if you want to hear what that announcement is, make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss out. I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.